We all have problems. Some are small, some are unbearable. And when life feels heavy, our first instinct is to talk, to vent, to tell the world what we're going through. But let me ask you something. What happens after you share? Does your situation improve, or do you just feel exposed? Most people don't tell you this, but silence is a power move. It's not about bottling things up. It's about knowing who to trust and when to speak. When we share our struggles, we often imagine that speaking our truth will bring solace, insight, or even a resolution to our problems. However, the reality is that while many people may listen, they do not always truly care. In our modern society, where everyone is entangled in their own concerns and distractions, a sympathetic ear can often be just that, a fleeting moment of acknowledgement that quickly fades into the background of daily life. The act of sharing, while cathartic in theory, can sometimes leave us feeling more isolated and exposed than ever before. Imagine this scenario. You pour your heart out to a friend or a colleague, expecting a deep connection or a thoughtful response. Instead, you receive a generic, "I'm sorry to hear that," or a brief nod, and the conversation moves on. That moment of vulnerability, which you hoped would be met with genuine care, is reduced to a mere interruption in someone's busy day. It is as if your pain, which seemed so all-consuming in the moment, has become a transient distraction, one that is acknowledged briefly and then forgotten, leaving you to grapple with your emotions alone. The listener's inability to invest in your struggles does not necessarily stem from a lack of empathy, but rather from the limitations imposed by their own lives. They are not equipped, either emotionally or mentally, to shoulder the weight of another's burdens. This disconnect between listening and caring is not a reflection of your worth or the validity of your experiences. Instead, it reveals a harsh truth about human interaction. Many are conditioned to listen only on the surface, providing a semblance of support without delving into the complexities of what you are truly facing. In a world where social interactions are often superficial, the momentary engagement of a listening ear is far from the sustained commitment that true empathy requires. The brevity of such exchanges highlights the fact that while people may be willing to hear your words, they are rarely prepared to listen with the depth and attention that your struggles deserve. The very nature of sharing problems can also inadvertently diminish the power of your own resilience. When you rely on the fleeting sympathy of others, you risk becoming dependent on external validation rather than cultivating an inner strength that will carry you through life's inevitable challenges. In those quiet moments, when no one is there to echo your feelings, you are forced to confront your reality alone. It is in that solitude that you begin to understand that true resolution comes not from others, but from within yourself. This personal journey, though arduous, builds a resilience that external validation can never provide, and it teaches you that sometimes the most profound answers are found in the silent spaces of introspection. The experience of sharing your struggles and then being met with indifferent or fleeting concern forces you to confront an uncomfortable truth about the nature of human connection. Not every person in your life is equipped to provide the deep, sustained care that you need. Some may listen out of habit, politeness, or even a desire to be seen as compassionate. But true empathy requires a commitment that goes far beyond momentary attention. It is in these instances that you learn to question not the validity of your pain, but the reality of the support system around you. You begin to understand that while sharing might offer temporary relief, it is the journey of self-reliance that ultimately defines your ability to overcome adversity. Realizing that people often listen without truly caring is both a lesson and a call to action. It urges you to seek strength within and be cautious about where you place your trust. This understanding does not lessen the value of sharing your feelings, it deepens your grasp of human connection. While many ears may catch your words, only a few hearts can hold your emotions. The challenge is not to stop sharing, but to discern when and with whom your words are truly valued. In facing life's struggles, you learn that resilience is measured not by the number of listeners, but by the quality of care you cultivate for yourself. There is an undeniable truth in the idea that your vulnerabilities can be turned into tools of your undoing. In every human being, there exists a part of us that is soft, that yearns for acceptance and connection. Yet that very part, when exposed to the wrong person, becomes a lever for manipulation. It is not a suggestion to hide away who you are, but rather an invitation to be mindful of when and with whom you share the parts of your inner self. When the wrong person obtains intimate details of your insecurities or past traumas, they gain a form of power over you that can be exploited for their own benefit. Imagine sharing a personal story with someone you trust, believing that vulnerability will build a bridge between you. That act, however sincere, might be misinterpreted by an individual with ulterior motives. Instead of offering support, they may hold your confidences over you like a loaded weapon. This is not a rare occurrence. Research in dark psychology and manipulation reveals that many who are skilled in reading human behavior know exactly how to turn your openness into a tool of control. They listen intently, note the details that you might think are harmless, and later use that information to undermine your confidence or shift the balance of power in their favor. Consider the dynamics of relationships, both personal and professional. When someone learns about your deepest insecurities, be it a fear of failure, a hidden regret, or the remnants of a painful past, they acquire a potent insight into what makes you tick. This information, when placed in the hands of a person with self-serving intentions, can be weaponized. They might use it to evoke doubt at critical moments, to remind you of your supposed shortcomings when you least expect it, or to isolate you from others who might otherwise offer support. In a work environment, this could manifest as subtle sabotage or undermining your decisions. In personal relationships, it could evolve into emotional blackmail that slowly erodes your self-esteem. It is essential to understand that vulnerability itself is not a flaw, it is a natural part of being human. Many great leaders and innovators have shown that the courage to be vulnerable can be a powerful source of connection and creativity. However, there is a fine line between sharing for growth and exposing yourself to exploitation. When you let your guard down indiscriminately, you risk giving someone the key to your most guarded chambers. The art lies in discerning which individuals are capable of respecting your vulnerability and which are not. Some will cherish your honesty and use it to build trust and collaboration, while others may see it as an opportunity to gain an advantage. The lesson here is not to close off your vulnerabilities entirely, but to learn when to hold back. In our digital age, where information flows freely and the boundaries between private and public are increasingly blurred, the stakes are higher than ever. Every word spoken or shared online can be a potential entry point for those with malicious intent. Just as ethical hackers use social engineering techniques to exploit weaknesses in security systems, so too can individuals with dark empathic traits use your personal details to manipulate you. Awareness of these tactics, recognizing that sometimes people listen not out of care but out of a desire to control, can empower you to set healthier boundaries. There is also a paradox in the way vulnerability is perceived. While many believe that showing weakness is a sign of failure, the truth is that true strength lies in the careful and discerning sharing of our inner truths. The wrong person, armed with the right information about your vulnerabilities, can indeed become your biggest enemy. They can twist your narrative using your own words against you and create a situation where your personal history becomes a chain that holds you back instead of a stepping stone to growth. In our journey through life, it is vital to cultivate not only emotional intelligence, but also an awareness of the strategic dynamics of human relationships. Learn to identify when a conversation is genuine and when it is a calculated probe into your vulnerabilities. Guard the parts of yourself that could be exploited. And remember that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to say, that's not for everyone to hear. Protect your narrative, because when your weaknesses become tools for someone else's gain, you lose the very essence of what makes you whole. Complaining may feel like a natural way to release tension, but over time, it only deepens the burden of our problems instead of lightening them. When we repeatedly verbalize our frustrations and dwell on the negative aspects of our lives, we inadvertently reinforce neural pathways that focus on discontent. The more we complain, the more our brain becomes attuned to negativity, which makes it increasingly difficult to see a way out or even to notice the positive elements that might be present. In essence, constant complaining does not solve issues, it solidifies them, making our challenges feel larger and more insurmountable. Imagine your mind as a well-tended garden. When you water the flowers and remove the weeds, your garden thrives. But if you consistently focus on the weeds, repeatedly talking about every little flaw or setback, those weeds grow stronger and begin to choke the life out of the beauty around them. Each time you complain, you are in effect nurturing the weeds, making the negative aspects of your reality more prominent. This process is supported by research on rumination, which shows that the more time we spend fixating on our problems, the more likely we are to experience prolonged negative moods and stress. Over time, the cumulative effect of this mental focus can lead to a downward spiral in our overall well-being. Our cognitive system is wired in a way that tends to give extra weight to negative experiences, a phenomenon known as negativity bias. When we complain, our brain tends to focus on those adverse experiences and encode them more strongly in memory, so they become a recurring reference point in our daily lives. This not only makes the problem seem larger than it is, but it also increases our sense of helplessness and reduces our ability to see constructive solutions. In this state, each complaint serves as a reminder of what is wrong, effectively building a heavier psychological load that weighs on our mood and performance. The act of complaining can trap us in a cycle of emotional reactivity. Initially, venting may provide a short-term relief or a feeling of validation, especially if someone listens and sympathizes with your frustrations. However, if that venting becomes a habitual response, it often prevents you from engaging in proactive problem-solving or finding ways to alter your circumstances. Instead of shifting your focus toward potential solutions, you end up repeatedly rehearsing the negative situation. This habitual focus on problems rather than on possibilities for change not only perpetuates feelings of dissatisfaction, but also drains your energy, leaving little reserve for creative thinking or action. There is a subtle yet powerful difference between sharing a fleeting moment of frustration and engaging in chronic complaining. Occasional venting can be a normal and even healthy process that helps release pent-up emotions. Yet when it becomes an automatic response to every minor inconvenience, it entrenches a negative mindset. Over time, this mindset can impact your overall outlook on life, making you more likely to expect failure or disappointment. What might have been a temporary setback transforms into a persistent belief that life is inherently unfair or that your efforts are futile. This, in turn, can hinder personal growth and make you less likely to take the necessary steps to improve your situation. Habitual complaining can affect your relationships. When you consistently focus on the negatives, the people around you may begin to distance themselves or feel overwhelmed by your constant focus on what is wrong. Instead of fostering a supportive environment, excessive complaining creates an atmosphere of pessimism that can strain friendships and even professional relationships. In a social context, when negativity becomes the default mode of communication, the mutual energy and optimism that fuel collaboration and connection diminish, leaving everyone involved feeling heavier and less motivated. The key to breaking this cycle is not to suppress your emotions, but to find more constructive ways of processing them. Instead of reiterating what is wrong, try to reframe your thoughts and consider what can be learned from the situation. Focusing on actionable steps and shifting your attention to potential solutions not only lightens your mental load, but also empowers you to make positive changes. When you change your inner dialogue from one that simply repeats your complaints to one that actively seeks improvement, you begin to rewire your brain. Over time, this can lead to a more balanced and hopeful perspective on life. While it may seem easier in the moment to complain and dwell on your problems, the long-term effect is to make them feel heavier and more overwhelming. By becoming aware of this tendency and intentionally redirecting your focus, you can reduce the emotional weight of your challenges and open up space for new, positive possibilities. Instead of letting your problems define you through constant repetition, let your actions and mindset work together to shape a reality that is lighter, more hopeful, and ultimately more within your control. When we choose silence, instead of filling every moment with words about our challenges, we create the space to discover our inner strength. It is in those quiet moments, when the constant hum of external opinions and social distractions fades away, that we are forced to confront our problems with a fresh perspective. When we refrain from verbalizing every worry or complaint, we are compelled to rely on our own judgment, intuition, and resilience. This process of self-reliance may feel uncomfortable at first, but it ultimately builds a foundation of personal strength that no amount of external reassurance can match. Imagine facing a difficult decision or an unexpected setback. The natural tendency might be to reach out, to share the problem, seek validation, or even find someone to blame. Yet, when we constantly articulate our difficulties, we may inadvertently amplify them, reinforcing negative emotions and creating a cycle of complaint that leaves us feeling even more overwhelmed. In contrast, when we practice silence, we allow ourselves the opportunity to process the situation internally. The quiet is not a void to be filled. It is a canvas on which we paint our thoughts, carefully analyzing each brushstroke of emotion and reaction. By doing so, we engage in a deep introspection that fosters clarity and purpose. Silence forces us to confront the reality of our circumstances without the comforting interference of external voices. This unfiltered encounter with our thoughts encourages us to search for solutions within ourselves rather than relying on the sometimes misleading or superficial opinions of others. Over time, this habit of internal problem solving transforms our approach to challenges. Instead of viewing obstacles as insurmountable burdens, we begin to see them as puzzles waiting to be solved by our own intellect and perseverance. This self-generated problem-solving ability is a testament to our resilience. It is a quiet declaration that we are capable of steering our lives, regardless of the external noise that surrounds us. The discipline of silence nurtures self-trust. Every time we hold back from immediately vocalizing our complaints, we give ourselves permission to pause, reflect, and evaluate. This pause is critical. It allows our mind to move beyond knee-jerk reactions and engage in thoughtful analysis. In those moments, we discover that our inner voice often holds the key to our next step. By learning to trust this internal guide, we gradually free ourselves from the dependency on others for emotional support. We become more self-sufficient, and that self-sufficiency translates into a profound inner strength that propels us forward, even in the face of adversity. Silence also acts as a safeguard against the pitfalls of constant negativity. When we continuously broadcast our troubles, we not only burden ourselves with negative energy, but we also risk drawing others into our vortex of despair. This can lead to strange relationships and a self-fulfilling prophecy of hopelessness. In contrast, by choosing silence, we interrupt the cycle of negativity. We stop reinforcing the very problems we wish to overcome and instead create an internal environment that is conducive to hope, creativity, and growth. In this calm space, we can objectively assess our situation, identify what is within our control, and develop strategies that are tailored to our unique strengths and resources. Embracing silence teaches us the art of patience. Not every problem requires an immediate vocal response. Sometimes the passage of time, combined with a period of quiet contemplation, reveals solutions that were not apparent in the heat of the moment. This delay is not a weakness. It is a strategic retreat that enables our minds to work through complexities without the pressure of instant resolution. In these moments, we cultivate resilience, and our ability to endure, adapt, and eventually overcome is strengthened. The less we speak about our difficulties, the more we are compelled to internalize our resolve. Silence becomes a powerful tool that not only conserves our mental energy, but also channels it into constructive action. By relying on ourselves to navigate challenges, we learn that our greatest strength lies within our capacity to reflect, innovate, and persevere. This self-reliance is the cornerstone of true empowerment, a quiet strength that endures long after the noise of complaints has faded away. In a world where it is so easy to share our woes on social media or in endless conversations, choosing silence is a radical act of self-care. It is a reminder that our inner voice, when given the chance to be heard, is the most reliable source of guidance and strength. The less we speak about our problems, the more we invest in ourselves, forging a path to resilience and a life defined by inner power rather than external validation. There is a harsh reality in life. Not everyone around you genuinely wants to see you succeed. In fact, some people may even secretly relish your struggles, finding a perverse satisfaction in watching you face challenges rather than helping you overcome them. This unsettling truth often stems from feelings of envy and insecurity. When someone sees you climbing higher, they may feel threatened by your potential and, consciously or unconsciously, attempt to undermine your progress. It is not that they wish ill upon you directly. Rather, your success may highlight their own limitations and remind them of what they have not achieved. This phenomenon, sometimes encapsulated by the term tall poppy syndrome, is an age-old social dynamic where individuals who stand out and excel are cut down by others who would prefer everyone remain the same. When you set out to succeed, you inevitably step out of the comfort zone of mediocrity that some find reassuring. For those who have become accustomed to seeing things remain stagnant, your breakthroughs represent change, often unwelcome change. They might engage in subtle behaviors, such as offering backhanded compliments or dismissive remarks, designed less to support you and more to remind you that you're not as capable as you seem. Over time, these seemingly small acts of undermining can accumulate, casting a long shadow over your achievements and making it harder for you to maintain the confidence needed to push forward. The truth is that success, in its very nature, is disruptive. It challenges established hierarchies and forces individuals to confront their own vulnerabilities. Those who are unable or unwilling to improve their own lives may, therefore, find comfort in your struggle. This is not an isolated occurrence. Research in social psychology has long demonstrated that envy is a powerful emotion that can drive people to sabotage or distance themselves from high achievers. The drive to watch others fail can be so strong because it temporarily lifts one's own self-esteem. Seeing someone else falter can make one's own inadequacies seem less significant. Recognizing this toxic dynamic is the first step toward protecting your well-being. You must learn to discern who is truly supportive and who might be secretly rooting against you. In many cases, individuals who appear to offer advice or sympathy may in fact be more interested in the drama of your struggles than in your actual progress. Their help might come in the form of negative comments or subtle criticisms that serve only to keep you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. When you become aware that not everyone in your circle is a genuine cheerleader, it empowers you to seek out relationships that are based on mutual growth and respect. Understanding that some people derive pleasure from your difficulties can also be a catalyst for personal empowerment. Instead of internalizing their negativity, you can use it as fuel to prove to yourself and indirectly to them that you are capable of rising above the pettiness. This shift in perspective is crucial. Your journey towards success should not be derailed by those who have their own struggles with envy or low self-worth. Their desire to see you fail is more a reflection of their own limitations than of any shortcoming on your part. By focusing on your inner strengths and surrounding yourself with genuinely supportive individuals, you begin to cultivate resilience. This self-reliance builds over time as you learn to trust your judgment and recognize that true progress comes from within. The less you allow yourself to be swayed by external negativity, the more you reclaim control over your own destiny. In silence, or even in selective communication, you gather the strength needed to push forward, unburdened by the weight of others' cynicism. The journey to success is deeply personal, and while external support can be invaluable, your inner strength is your most reliable ally. Embrace the knowledge that you are capable of rising above negativity. Let every setback fuel your determination, knowing that those who derive pleasure from your struggle are not your allies, but rather obstacles on your path. Focus on your own growth, celebrate your victories, and let the truth of your resilience shine brighter than the shadows cast by others' envy. In life's journey, it is essential to surround yourself with people who provide solutions rather than empty sympathy. When you encounter challenges, it is easy to fall into the trap of venting to anyone who will listen. Friends, family, even acquaintances, who may offer kind words but lack the insight to guide you toward real progress. Instead, seek out those individuals who have walked the path of adversity and emerged wiser, for they possess the practical wisdom necessary to help you navigate your obstacles. These are the mentors, coaches, and trusted advisors who not only empathize with your difficulties, but also challenge you to see beyond your immediate pain. Their guidance, rooted in their own experiences and hard-won lessons, can be the catalyst that transform your struggles into opportunities for growth. When you speak with those who truly understand how to solve problems, you gain more than just a sympathetic ear. You acquire actionable advice, a roadmap that can illuminate the steps needed to overcome hurdles. Research in mentoring and solution/focused coaching has shown that individuals who receive constructive feedback from experienced advisors report higher levels of resilience and a stronger sense of self-efficacy. Their insights encourage you to reframe your mindset, shifting your focus from a state of helplessness to one of empowerment. Instead of repeatedly recounting your difficulties and dwelling on what went wrong, these mentors help you dissect the problem, identify what is within your control, and develop strategies that are tailored to your unique circumstances. It is important to recognize that not everyone has your best interests at heart. In many social circles, some individuals derive a perverse pleasure from witnessing others struggle. Their indifference or even subtle undermining can sap your energy and reinforce a negative mindset. Therefore, it is crucial to filter the voices you allow into your inner circle. Genuine guidance comes from those who are solution-oriented, who have a track record of transforming setbacks into successes, their feedback may be direct and at times even hard to swallow, but is delivered with the intent to push you toward improvement. By contrast, sympathy without substance can leave you feeling stuck, as it merely validates your current state rather than propelling you forward. Engaging with those who offer real solutions also teaches you to rely more on your own inner resources. When you start solving problems by yourself, with occasional input from wise advisors, you gradually build self-reliance and a sense of personal agency. This independence is invaluable because ultimately, the only person who must live with the consequences of your decisions is you. The act of finding your own answers and implementing strategies, even small ones, reinforces your ability to overcome adversity. It shifts your focus from passive lamentation to active problem solving. In doing so, you create a positive feedback loop. Every time you successfully address a challenge, your confidence grows, making you better equipped to handle future setbacks. In essence, speaking with those who can actually help is a deliberate strategic choice. It means prioritizing wisdom over sympathy and action over inaction. While it is natural to seek comfort in the form of sympathy during tough times, real progress comes from engaging with mentors who challenge you to rise above your circumstances. Their guidance offers a lifeline that helps you break free from the inertia of constant complaining, enabling you to take decisive steps toward a brighter future. Ultimately, by choosing to speak only with those who have the ability and the will to help you find solutions, you are investing in your own success and paving the way for a life marked by resilience, self-reliance, and continuous growth. In conclusion, our journey toward personal growth requires a discerning approach to sharing our struggles. We learned that speaking out might not always bring the help we expect, as many offer only fleeting sympathy, while some even take pleasure in our hardships. Rather than repeatedly dwelling on our difficulties, we must embrace silence, allowing ourselves to tap into our inner wisdom and strength. Success is not defined by external validation, but by the resilience and proactive problem solving that come from within. By seeking guidance from those who genuinely offer constructive solutions, and by filtering out voices that reinforce negativity, we pave the way for true empowerment. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow when we trust our own judgment and focus on actionable change. Embrace your inner voice and let unwavering determination always guide every step. Thank you for your attention and commitment to cultivating personal strength and progress. Thanks.